My name is Alanna, and I am a psychiatric registered nurse. And before we get into this conversation about these medicines, I will share a little bit more about my history. So, not too much time ago, 10 or 15 years ago, I was right where you are in nursing school. And after I graduated, I worked in various hospital settings, rehabs, inpatient facilities, residential facilities with adults and teenagers and children. And I realized after some time that this particular setting was not really how I could best serve people, serve others. And so I began exploring indigenous medicines. And eventually I left the traditional system of medicine, and I lived in the Amazon. I lived with teachers and indigenous villages and communities for most of 2017, studying these plants, studying their rituals, and all of the benefits. And I returned to the US, and then I began offering these medicines and sharing this ancient knowledge with people from all over the world. So the two medicines I will talk today are Ayahuasca and Kambo frog medicine. So Ayahuasca is an indigenous medicine that is made up of two plants, the ayahuasca vine and the chacruna leaf. And this is an entheogen, and I will give a definition of this for anyone who doesn't know. Entheogens are medicines that give a psychoactive or psychedelic experience, but they are specifically used for healing and spiritual purposes. So that's the defining characteristic and the difference between an entheogenic substance and a psychedelic. Psychedelics have the connotation and the reputation of recreational use, whereas entheogens are only for healing and spiritual purposes. Ayahuasca has so many different benefits and so many different effects and experiences, but some of the major benefits are healing of depression, anxiety, PTSD, trauma. Ayahuasca can change the neurological pathways, and it can change things that have impacted the limbic system at a very young age. So it increases neuroplasticity in the brain to allow new patterns and new ways of thinking that are healthier to emerge more easily. It also can help us to connect to our purpose, to find meaning in life. And it can bring healing on every single level, mentally, emotionally, physically, people that have chronic illnesses. These are all benefits of ayahuasca. And something important to mention about all of these indigenous medicines is the fundamental connection between the mind, body, and spirit that these ancient lineages have always known. All of these different traditions, indigenous people from India, Ayurveda, Chinese medicine, these ancient technologies have always acknowledged the inextricable link between the mind, the body, and the spirit. And when one is out of balance, this is creating disharmony in the system and dis-ease and disorders. And so this is very important to understand when we're talking about indigenous medicines, is that these three aspects of every human being are always acknowledged and looked at when there's any issue that's presenting for someone. So next I will talk a little bit about the experience of ayahuasca, what can happen. And if anyone looks on the internet, you'll see a huge range of experiences, from the most beautiful, blissful experience to the most terrifying and scary experience. So what really can happen? Anything that is inside of us, we can experience. And anything outside of us, we can also experience. This includes, but is not limited to, visions with our eyes closed. We can have visitations from people who have passed on. We can have connections with other beings from other realms outside of the physical realm. We can experience purging, which means vomiting or diarrhea, or any kind of energetic release, crying, chills, shakes. We can have a connection, an experience of divinity. We can experience and understand past traumas and different things. We can experience time. We can see things from the past. We can see things into the future. These are a huge variety of experiences that people can have, and there's no way to know how one person will react. But over time, we build a relationship with these medicines, and we can discover and heal so much. So next I will talk about the Kambo frog medicine. Now this is not an entheogen. This is not a psychoactive substance. This medicine comes from the secretion of the Kambo frog, which lives in the Amazon region, all over South America. And this medicine has been used also for thousands and thousands of years, just like ayahuasca and many others. That no one knows how long or when this medicine had started being used. It has so many benefits. This can help also with very similar benefits as ayahuasca, but different in that it is a master purifier. This medicine is used for cleansing, for detoxification, for purification of the whole system. It can help clear out pharmaceuticals. It can help clear out substances, alcohol. It helps to reset opioid receptors in people that have had various kinds of addictions. And personally, in our community, we are supporting people to taper off of various pharmaceuticals, specifically SSRIs, methadone, Suboxone, using the Kambo, because as some of you might know, to come off of these medications can be very challenging. There's a whole array of side effects that can happen, and so the Kambo helps to smooth out this tapering process and allows people to taper much more easily. And the Kambo also has a variety of experiences, but generally it does include purging. It is a purgative. That's part of its quality of purification. This is how these toxins are leaving the system. So nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, a feeling of heat, these are all normal sensations that people can experience with the Kambo. But afterwards, generally, there's a feeling of lightness. There's a feeling of levity. We have so much strength. It strengthens the immune system. It can also help people with cancer. There are so many benefits. It helps people with chronic pain. Can help with sleep, with insomnia. And so the short period of discomfort is well worth the benefits that last for weeks and months and years to come. And I will also like to talk a little bit about one of the most important tools that we have as we go through any of these processes, and that is the breath. Breath is essential for going through any process, especially of indigenous medicines. And because when we consciously connect with our breathing, we can go through the experience much more easily. And conscious breathing, being aware of the breath, this is one of the most fundamental tools in every single spiritual lineage, in yoga practices, in various kinds of other breathing exercises. And so when we connect to the breath, we can become present, and this presence helps us to go through any process much more easily. And I would like to close this presentation giving each of you some inspiration and encouragement for your journey, because not so long ago I was sitting right where you are, and sometimes we enter into a profession or into a world, and we have an intention as nurses. We want to help people. We want to bring good to the world and bring healing. But sometimes we get out there and we realize that maybe there's not a place for how we really want to give, how we really want to be of service to this world. And so I encourage each and every one of you to step outside the box and follow your heart, follow your dreams, follow your passions, even if that doesn't look conventional, even if other people question you, even if it looks different than maybe how you expected your life to be. Don't be afraid of it and embrace it. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't hesitate to reach out to us for any more questions. We are Truth is One. This is our organization. We are a 501c3 nonprofit, and we are happy to connect with anyone who feels called to walk on this journey of healing. Thank you so much.